John is down on the field with Forrest Stuart, and he will talk finances. Here's John.
Yes, sir, I sure will, Gary. One of my favorite parts of the day when I get a chance to talk to some of the college leadership. I'm here with Forrest Stuart, one of the newer members of our administration. He is the college's vice president for financial aid. He comes to us from Furman. He has a PhD from Clemson, a master's from Alabama. This ain't exactly Death Valley or the SEC, but we're having ourselves a good old time. Forrest, you know, anyone who follows the pathway of truly great colleges understands that attracting quality students and enrolling them is the lifeblood of that institution. Colleges are under quite a strain these days, but a recent article in the Philadelphia Inquirer cited Lafayette as a school that is not suffering those issues. We're doing very, very well. How is that possible?
Well, the foundation has been laid years and years ago. And most recently, this new strategic direction and it's not so much it is laid, one of the words that's used, that the president uses, and really comes from the board on down to the VP leadership, is financial aid is the linchpin to success, the future success of Lafayette. And so what the college has done is gotten ahead of the game in all of the metrics as far as where we're recruiting, the quality of the students that are here, the number of applications, and the actual commitment to financial aid. We meet 100% of demonstrated need of our admitted students, and we are one of 70 in the nation. There are only 70 in the nation that do that.
And how many colleges? I mean, just
well, public and private 4-year, about 3,300.
Unbelievable. 72 out of 48.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, one of the, you used the word linchpin, and in reading your bio and your pathway to Lafayette, when you saw that financial aid being a linchpin, that was a word that drew you to us. One of President Byerly's overarching initiatives is the goal of being need blind. Talk to us about at least the goal. It's probably financially almost impossible, but what does it mean for a college to be truly need blind?
It's a great question because colleges define it differently, and that's one of the hard things. What we're trying to do is we are trying to be able to afford any class that we want to enroll. And what I mean by that is we want to have enough financial aid that we can enroll whomever we want. We can shape the class with the depth and dimension, as Matt Hyde would say in admissions, to continue to attract the students that make this place what it is and that make it a leader in liberal arts education. It's just incredible. So
as the industry, if you will, evolves, so many changes take place. I was here 100 years ago, almost literally, when financial aid and admissions were kind of housed exclusively under the same roof. There might have been 3 or 4 people who handle the whole thing, but that dynamic has changed, and your relationship with Matt Hyde and the people in admissions is a very unique one. Talk to us about the synergy between those two offices.
Sure. When I started in higher education in the late 80s, I started off in admissions, worked there for 5 years, and then moved to financial aid. So I have always understood the importance of financial aid and admissions working together. And when you talk about enrollment management, you're talking about cradle to endowment, and you're talking about the whole spectrum of the student life, even to graduation and all of that. In order for that to work, the front part of that has the admissions and financial aid have to work together, and it's all about institutional enrollment goals. And if those two parts work in silos, you can forget it. It doesn't work.
You and I had a chance to sit down over lunch, and we talked a little bit about the nuances of it all. I mean, you got to know what's going on with student life. You got to know what students of today are attracted to. The ability to accept a student based on his or her ability and merit, not just on their ability to pay, separates good colleges. And we talked about the campus being an incubator. We talked about social engineering, which I'm not a big fan of, but in this case, diversity and social engineering works for a college like Lafayette. Why?
Well, it's because of the students themselves are transformed. And even the faculty and the administrators. I mean, higher education is about transformation. It's not a transactional event or experience. It is completely transformational. And when you can bring together people of all backgrounds, and I don't mean just economic backgrounds, I mean, you name it, think about the differences. Everybody is changed a little bit. And if we're going to make it in the nation and in the world, as we all know, it takes an education like Lafayette's and the type of students that we enroll in order to make it all that it needs to be for the nation and for the world.
Well, there's an awful lot of talk about the cost of higher education. And Forrest, I got to tell you, for my money, it's impossible to put a price tag on what happens to students when they come to a place like this. We're a big market team when it comes to financial aid and enrolling the very best students. Forrest, thanks so much for spending time with us.
Enjoyed it.
Yeah, always a lot of fun. Gary Michael, another thing that makes this college what it is.